Good afternoon, students. Hope you are studying regularly at your homes. In continuation of the video lectures, today I am going to do the Luncheon by William Somerset Maugham with you. Students, first let us know about the author. William Somerset Maugham, he was born in 1874 in Paris, capital city of France. He was an English playwright, novelist, and short story writer. The author also served during First World War by serving in Red Cross. He was married to Shri Welcome in 1917, and his masterpiece is a novel named Of Human Bondage. He was awarded the Best British Writer at the age of 35. And the author died on 16th of December 1965. The luncheon. Students, I am also sharing the text of this story, The Luncheon, with you. If you have the text, it's well and good. If you don't have, I have shared the text with you. Now, students, who all are the characters in this story? The characters, mainly two characters, the protagonist, the narrator. He is a writer and a lady who happens to be one of the readers of the author. Now, come to the story, the plot line of this story. What happens in this story? This story begins with present happening, and that present happening is the narrator recognizes the lady whom he met 20 years back and recalls an incident of 20 years back. So the narration goes back to past. So, and this technique of narration is called flashback technique. The narrator recognizes the lady during staging of a play and recalls an incident of 20 years back. What happens at that time? The narrator was like living in Paris in some poor colony of the city, and he like used to write. The lady wrote to him about one of his books and wanted to meet him for a lunch at Foyot's. Students, Foyot's is a restaurant in Paris where French senators eat. Senators, members of the Parliament of France. So the author for the like after getting to know this desire of the lady, first he was apprehensive as she asks for a lunch in a very expensive restaurant. As the writer was anyhow making his both ends meet because he was running short of money. That's why he was not able to afford the lunch. That's why the story is titled The Lunch. See what is special about this lunch. Being flattered by the praise, the author accepts the proposal. They met for the lunch. But see what happens. The author assumed the lady to be a young, charming lady of aesthetic tastes. But during the meeting, he came to know that the lady is not that much attractive and young, which he assumed. The lady appears to be a lady of 40, and he was like earlier he imagined that the lady would talk about his works, but he did not mention anything about his works. She just randomly mentions one thing about the uh, not about the author's works, but about the situation of drama in Balkans, the like countries which are around Bulgarian mountain region. So the author, the lunch starts, the waiter came, the bill of fare was brought, and the author saw that the bill of fare is very expensive. Even like the price for the dishes is extremely high. The lady started ordering the dishes one after another, and she began with the dish which was not even the season at that time. The very first dish which she orders is salmon, which is a type of fish. Another is caviar. Then she orders asparagus, tea, uh, coffee, not tea, coffee, ice cream, and asparagus. All these expensive dishes she ordered. The author, the, the moment she ordered a dish, the author was very apprehensive and his heart sank a little. The author turned a little pale. What the bill of fare would be. So he's like started to plan how to pay for that. So he like just created a dramatic story for that I would put my hand in the pocket and I would cry that my pocket had been picked, and I would like leave my watch uh, for the time being and will seek the excuse that I will pay and take my watch back. On the other hand, the lady, see the ironical statements which the lady made. Well, what the lady said, I never eat anything for lunch. I only eat one thing for lunch. On the other hand, what she did, she ordered very expensive dishes one after another. So, what happened? They came out of the restaurant and the bill was paid. Author was having 80 francs in his pocket and 3 francs left for a tip, which was insufficient for a tip. Both, like the author as well as the lady reader, both like started for their ways towards their destinations, but the author was penniless and the whole month was before him, like how to make both ends meet. But the author, the end is very, see the twist and end of the story, that this natural justice happened. And author mentioned that when god, immortal gods intervene in something, it is like complacent free, it is satisfactory on our part to see the result. And the result was the revenge, the natural justice was the lady weighs approx 130 kg in present stage. So author's revenge was taken for putting him into trouble by a lady reader who seems food loving more instead of a literary person, instead of a book reader. So, students, the characteristic features of this story are the narration of this story is in first person, the narrator is the author. It moves with flashback technique, means the story starts with present situation but moves back to an event in past which happened 20 years back. So the technique which is used in the story is flashback. See the ironical statements which I have already mentioned. I never eat anything for luncheon. I never eat more than one thing. These statements are made by the lady. All the readers are in the assumption that, oh, well, this lady who has asked for a lunch from the author won't eat anything but she kept on ordering one expensive dish after another, and the poor author, the miserable situation in which he was, and the situation of his like innerly he was sinking inside that what would happen. So the theme of this story is appearance versus reality. Appearance versus reality means he imagines lady to be that of literary tastes, beautiful one of aesthetic tastes, but in real she was not what she seemed. She was, see the character sketch. First of the lady was imposing rather than attractive. Snobbish means snobbery, chauvinist. Food loving, hypocritical means a person who is not in real what he or she is. Little, and the lady has little aestheticism, not that much, as once she mentioned the condition of drama in Bulgarian countries. On the other hand, narrator is a young man. He is human. He was like elated by the praise of the lady and accepts the offer of the lunch made by the lady. He seems sacrificing because the whole month was before him, but he like did not ignore the offer of the lady, and he was very hospitable to the lady in spite of having less sources for livelihood. Hospitable, you may also mention. And he was unvindictive, although what the lady had did, but he was not in a mood to revenge. And the author seems very humorous as this talk or conversation during the lunch shows that the author was that of humorous nature. So the conclusions which we can derive from this story that no doubt this story is a comic one. It's a comic one. Uh, One can't stop laughing himself after reading this story. And second thing is that natural justice happens in the end, and that is the lady became obese. So, the students, here is the assignment for you. You have to explain the inherent meaning of the following statements. My heart sank, panic seized me, and these statements are made by author. Thank you very much. Read the story line by line. Underline the statements which I have already mentioned in the slides. Just if you find any difficult word, underline and find out the meaning from the dictionary. If you have some more doubts, note down. You may write to me or you may discuss when we will meet for the classrooms in future. Okay, thank you very much.